Students and President Boren reach a stalemate. Oklahomans lend a helping hand to Haitian hurricane refugees. And an exclusive interview with the Libertarian presidential candidate. This is OU Nightly. It was a gathering born out of frustration. A group of students met with OU's President David Boren today to discuss sexual assault and rape culture on campus.
The meeting was called following a protest Tuesday when the group marched to the president's office with a list of demands, including publicly apologizing for statements he made concerning campus sexual assaults. One of those statements called sexual assaults on the nation's college campuses an understandable problem. The other statement warned students to stay out of situations where you're incapable of saying no. Nightly's Macy B. Healer covered today's meeting, and she joins us live from Evans Hall.
Are there any new
A group of about
Macy?
10 students met here at Evans Hall with President Boren today to discuss campus sexual assaults and get their demands heard. President Boren said he will not apologize for his statements because he feels that they were taken out of context.
I can't apologize for what I didn't say. But what I can say is, again, that's not what I believe. That's not what I said. That's not the context in which anybody misinterpreted what I said.
It would be great if an apology was issued, because I feel that survivors of sexual violence or people who just know others who have experienced sexual violence were really hurt by his misstep in how he spoke to
Not stop
the
until
OUD.
they reach their goals.
Macy. A local nonprofit is helping the people of storm-ravaged Haiti. Hurricane Matthew last week pounded the tiny island, and OU Nightly's Lindsay Gomez shows us the Norman group that is providing aid to those who need it most.
That type of country cannot even handle a rainstorm.
This is Tawana Hudson. She's the founder of Mission Direct Haiti, an Oklahoma-based nonprofit, and she's been to Haiti 20 times in the past 2 years.
There's no good water systems there. They're sick all the time. No food, no clothes, no home. It's devastating.
It's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere.
Can you imagine us living in a stick home, American, U.S.? We're talking mud homes here. We're talking tarps for homes.
And a Category 4 hurricane slammed into it last week. Matthew brought catastrophic winds of 145 miles per hour.
This is Matthew! Pray! Pray for us! We are right on it right now!
This is the strongest storm to hit Haiti in half a century. According to CNN, more than 300 people are dead and many more are missing. Towns have been completely wiped out. Homelessness and starvation roam the devastated regions. That's why this local nonprofit is taking action. It has 4 delegates on the ground providing immediate relief. They began running a bread drive, but now, thanks to donations, they have the resources to meet even greater needs.
We're now able to pass out beans, rice, matches, candles, crackers. We set a little kit.
So far, they've been able to help more than 2,000 people, but the delegates of this organization aren't going to leave when they finish passing out all the food.
Our focus is to rebuild the country.
They're in this for the long run.
We will build and build and build until there is nothing to build.
Until every person has a real home. Lindsay Gomez, OU Nightly.
To donate to this organization, visit missiondirecthaiti.org. And Jordan Overton is standing by with the latest developments from the Atlantic coast. Jordan?
Yeah, that's right, guys. You know, Haiti over there, and especially all the islands across the Caribbean, I mean, they haven't seen a hurricane quite like Matthew in years. They haven't seen a Category 5, Category 4. We haven't seen that in probably at least 7 years down there in that region. And so, they kind of not really ready sometimes for those kind of things, especially on the islands. I mean, winds of 120 miles an hour for 6 hours at a time. I mean, that is just absolutely devastating for that area. And even for the Atlantic, it's not over yet. Hurricane Nicole is now spinning also just to the north of that region. And so this is Hurricane Nicole. It's, a very large eye. It's a pretty small-sized hurricane, but the eye itself is a lot bigger. Now, coming up, I'm going to be talking more about this and also more about the weather coming up this weekend. Back to you guys.
Thanks, Jordan. The state of Oklahoma's request for an extension to comply with the Federal Real ID Act was denied yesterday. Beginning January 30th, federal agencies are not allowed to accept Oklahoma driver's license or IDs. If you don't have identification that complies with the Real ID Act, like a passport, you won't be able to enter federal buildings. One of those buildings is the National Weather Center. OU students and employees will need a passport or military ID to enter. Starting early 2018, people with non-compliant forms of ID cannot board airplanes. Even if legislation is passed in the 2017 session, lawmakers say they won't be able to get real ID compliant licenses to Oklahomans before the 2018 deadline. And moving from the Oklahoma State Capitol to Capitol Hill, Tori Johnson joins us now in the News Center with the latest on Trump's last spy at the White House. Tori?
Courtney, Americans have the choice between peace or possible nuclear war. A powerful ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin says that Donald Trump is the only candidate who can ease tensions between the U.S. and Russia. The veteran lawmaker also says voting for Clinton would start World War III. He said voting Trump would be voting for world peace. And finally, all federal buildings will be offering baby changing tables in men's restrooms. President Barack Obama signed the Bathrooms Accessible in Every Situation Act. The act does not apply to buildings such as restaurants or retailers. It is a small task, but a big step forward for gender equality. And Amazon is now opening grocery stores. You can buy your perishable foods in store and order other items via smartphone. This will give you the option to choose same-day delivery or pickup. They will also deploy technology to read your license plate number to ensure as little wait as possible. The first store will open in Seattle. And a federal judge granted Florida citizens 6 more days to register to vote in the wake of Hurricane Matthew. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Tori. And still ahead on OU Nightly, an exclusive interview with presidential candidate Gary Johnson.
Plus, Norman opposes a proposed constitutional amendment. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Last night, Norman City Council took a position opposing a constitutional amendment. The city warned citizens last night of the potential adverse effects of State Question 777, otherwise known as the Right to Farm ballot initiative. State officials believe that the language in the legislation is too broad and would give the agriculture industry special protections. And there's just 26 days left until voters cast their ballots on Election Day, and October has already been full of surprises. Eric Payne is here with the latest Election 2016 news. Eric?
Donald Trump is continuing his civil war against Speaker of the House Paul Ryan and other Republicans in Congress. The GOP nominee spent most of the last 2 days lashing out on social media, saying, "It is so nice that the shackles have been taken off me and I can now fight for America the way I want to." This comes after many Republicans have unendorsed and disavowed Trump for his vulgar comments about women in a 2005 video released over the weekend. New polls show Hillary Clinton with a large boost since the start of October. The latest New York Times prediction now shows Clinton with an 88% chance of winning. That's up from 70% just a couple weeks ago. And while the election drums are sounding loudly for Clinton and Trump, there are other candidates, and one of them is Libertarian Gary Johnson. He spoke over the weekend with OU Nightly's Allie Stratton.
They let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
In response to Donald Trump's latest scandal, some Republicans are abandoning their nominee and paying more attention to Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson. This weekend, I traveled to one of Governor Johnson's rallies in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to find out what he and his party are all about.
For someone who isn't familiar with what the Libertarian Party stands for, could you give a basic explanation for its main principles?
I think most people in this country are libertarian. It's just that they don't know it. And that's being fiscally conservative, small government, less taxes, money that you and I can spend as opposed to the government. It's socially inclusive, always coming down on the side of you and I as individuals being able to make choices in our lives that only we should be making, as long as those choices don't put other people in harm's way.
Polls show that Johnson's largest support base comes from millennials. I asked him what he thinks it is about him that appeals to young voters.
When I talk about a balanced budget, that's for young people. I'm going to get my health care, I'm going to get my retirement, but you're going to pay for it, and really, it's not going to be around for you. Legalization of marijuana. You may disagree with a person's use of marijuana, but is it criminal? Well, it's not criminal if no one else is affected by it. And then free market. What government can do is provide equal opportunity. And I think it is what we all really want, is something that's achievable. Equal opportunity is achievable. Don't give benefit to those that have money, that have influence, and really that's politics in America today.
Next, I asked whether he thinks millennials are shifting away from the polarized two-party system.
Right now, 50% of people that are going to register to vote today are registering as independent. I think we have an opportunity, a unique opportunity, if elected president, to call out both sides, to come to the middle and deal with issues. We'll hire a bipartisan, tripartisan administration, Libertarians, Republicans, and Democrats.
And finally, Trump. How will the candidate's most recent scandal impact the election?
This is horrible. If this isn't a wake-up call for everyone that was supporting Donald Trump, I don't know what it's going to take.
In Albuquerque, New Mexico, Allie Stratton, reporting for OU Nightly.
Guys, despite the support from millennials, Gary Johnson is still hovering at 7% in the polls.
All right, thanks, Eric. And still ahead on OU Nightly, Jordan will explain the fall cold front that blew into the state today.
Plus, OU soccer looks to rebound in Bedlam.
Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Jordan Ovich. I'm going to look at your weather. So this morning at 10 o'clock, sunny skies, 80 degrees. Hey, this is going to be a great day. Right now, cloudy, cool, 60 degrees. We've cooled off drastically because a cold front has come through. In fact, our temperatures are 20 to 30 degrees cooler than they were at this time yesterday. It's incredible. Cold front moved through, brought us a lot of cold air, and there it is right there. It's moving through to the south, and this high pressure behind us kind of moving in. It's not really going to do too much, actually. It's not that strong. So the rain's off to the northeast, the cold front's moving through. But what we're keeping an eye on is weather in the Pacific Ocean. And you may think, what does that have to do with anything? Well, that's because all this moisture from Typhoon Sangda, there's a typhoon right there, you can see the spin. See how that moisture stretches all the way over to the western United States? Well, that moisture is going to impact us for the next week or so, and even this weekend. And what it's going to do first is it's going to give a lot of rain to the western part of the coast. They could see through the next 7 days potentially 15 to 25 inches of rain. That's 2 feet of rain right there on the western coast. So Portland, Seattle, Eureka, Sacramento, even off to the east near Salt Lake City, 15 to 25 inches of rain. And what that does is as that system approaches, it's going to heat us up for the weekend. So tomorrow, highs will be in the 60s. But Saturday and Sunday, highs are back in the 80s, 87 degrees for a high on Sunday. But then when the system gets to shore, another cold front will move through, which will cool us off back into the 70s for mid next week. So tonight, temperatures aren't going to be too bad. Inside the 50s, it will be cooler, right on normal for this time of year. Winds will be light, around 5 to 10 miles an hour from the northeast. Tomorrow is looking to be pretty much a cloudy and cool day. We're looking at 54 to start off the morning, cloudy skies. Noon also cloudy skies. At 4 o'clock, there is some chance. I think we'll see some rain, especially to the south of Interstate 40. Around 4 o'clock tomorrow, Norman, we could also see some rain. Winds will be light, though. It's just going to be cloudy. It's really kind of a boring day, really, just cloudy and not really too much going on. Those highs are going to be inside the 60s, which compared to today, going to be a lot different. And then as we look at the forecast for Thursday and Friday, so much cooler for Thursday. Again, that cooler air moves in, some rain, mainly for the day. And then Thursday night into Friday, could see some early morning rain, and clouds will kind of start to clear out, but not too much as we go through. Then the weekend, there's the warm-up. 82 degrees on Saturday, 87 degrees on Sunday, and then 88 degrees on Monday. That system finally gets here as we get into early next week and cools us back off into the 70s. But until then, a warm weekend, and then it finally cools off later early next week. Not too bad.
All right, thanks, Jordan. And Reagan Ledbetter's up next with sports.
Thanks, guys. OU football looks to continue its winning ways at home on Saturday, and the Chicago Cubs shatter the hopes of the Bay Area. Sports is straight ahead. Welcome back. The Sooners are coming off an offensive explosion last weekend down in Dallas, but still need improvement on the other side of the ball. Mike Stoops and the defense have been faced with high-tempo offenses the entire first half of the season, and it has been a struggle. The Sooners are now going head-to-head with a slower-paced Kansas State team looking for revenge after being torched by OU last year.
Obviously, you know, K-State's not a big tempo team, but at the end of the day, we still take them just as heavy as every other offense because you see what they did last week, putting up a lot of points on Texas Tech. And it's just, you know, even though it's another week, we still prepare just like we did the week before.
And the now unranked Sooner women's soccer team is looking to rebound in Bedlam. OU is coming off back-to-back losses to Baylor and West Virginia last week. Despite the rough patch, the Sooners feel they have the right attitude heading into a rematch in Stillwater Friday night.
I can take from the last game a sense of competitiveness and how hungry they are, but yet know how much we're going to have to bring to our game and bring a sense of urgency and be ready to fight and just have a little spark in us whenever we step on the field.
And the hope in the Bay Area was short-lived. The San Francisco Giants took the Cubs to 13 innings Monday to get a walk-off win and avoid an NLDS sweep. Last night, the Giants' magic was back. That is until the 9th inning. The Cubs rallied from 3 runs down, capped off by a Javier Baez go-ahead single to steal the win and secure their spot in the NLCS. And things haven't been much different in the Battle of D.C. and L.A. Last night in a must-win game for the L.A. Dodgers, they looked to their ace, Clayton Kershaw. The Southpaw cruised until the 7th when the Nationals tied it up 5-5. It was late-game heroics for the L.A. as veteran Chase Utley dumped the ball into right field to drive in the go-ahead run. The 6-5 score stood, and the Dodgers forced a Game 5 in Washington Thursday afternoon. And it's back. Hockey season has arrived. The NHL kicks off their season tonight with a 4-game set, and the defending Stanley Cup champs Pittsburgh Penguins are in action tomorrow night against their hated rival Capitals. The men in black and gold begin their 2016 campaign without their heart and soul as Sid the Kid Crosby begins the season out with a concussion. There is still no timetable for his return. And it's that time of the week, guys. The Wednesday Wine of the Week has arrived. This week we go back to the Bay Area, home of the kneel-down and now starting quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Now, you may think this award is going to Colin himself, but actually it's going to the guy he beat out. The most loved and hated man in the NFL is getting another chance, and former starter Blaine Gabbert just isn't happy about it. Gabbert told the media straight up, "It sucks, I don't like it, I gave it my best shot, and it wasn't good enough." Here's a helpful hint for you, Blaine. Learn how to win football games, and everything will be solved. What is it about NFL guys just constantly complaining? Just play better.
But to be honest, I don't think it really matters which quarterback is in. I don't know if they're going to win either way.
Yeah, the Niners are just going downhill quick without a parachute.
All right, thanks, Reagan. Still to come on OU Nightly, we'll have another look at the evening planner. And got milk? Jimmy Fallon does. We'll let you know what we're talking about. Straight ahead on OU Nightly.
I'm Harley Toothman at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation announces a $10,000 reward today for a copy of a video it believes shows the torture and murder of Karina Saunders. Tomorrow marks 5 years since investigators discovered the body of the 19-year-old outside of Bethany, Oklahoma. Her family hopes the reward will spark new leads. If you have any information, call the OSBI hotline at 1-800-522-8017. That's it for now. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Harley. Well, if you missed the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon last night, you will be utterly disappointed that you didn't stay up past your curfew. Last night, talk show host Jimmy Fallon received cow milking lessons from country music superstar Blake Shelton. Fallon applied his newfound skill immediately and had fresh milk with his bowl of cereal. I mean, I like milk. I like Blake Shelton. Sounds like a great combination to me.
Yeah, I don't think I would have wanted to drink it straight away. But Jordan, can we just get one last check at that evening planner?
Yeah, that's right, guys. So again, tonight, it's not going to be that bad. It will continue to cool off, though. 54 by midnight with a slight rain chance and a slight northwest winds. And one last look at the 7-day forecast. Again, got that chance for rain Thursday and Friday. Heats up for the weekend before it cools back down mid-next week. So not too bad.
Well, thanks for watching OU Nightly, brought to you by Gaylord College at the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, live at 4:30.
Have a great evening. Good night.